Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make an informed decision. Well guys, if you're like me, if you've stacked a lot of banking tokens, you know, the ISO20022 compliant so-called tokens, are the tokens that are going to really do well when the banking reset happens. Well, I'm here to tell you, this video is for you. Because if you're like I was, about a year ago, I pretty much thought that the banking reset was going to happen. And you know, they're going to hit that so-called switch. And then the disruptive technology and all those new players are going to take over the banking sector. And banking is going to look entirely different. And it's going to be disruptive. And the new technology, right, the blockchain creators and the corporations like Ripple and the Stellar Foundation and HBAR, all of those were going to take the lead. Well, I got news for you guys. I was highly misinformed. Now, how do I know that I was misinformed? Well, guys, not only have I done massive amounts of research on studying like Ripple and XRP, separately, studying all the foundations like HBAR, Stellar, Algorand. I've done all that homework, but I've also done deep dives on what the legacy banking system's up to. I've done immense deep dives of what rails that Swift is putting in place, what that is going to look like. The FEDNOW, went down that rabbit hole, and I've studied the Lightning Network and all the major corporations that are helping Bitcoin bank the unbanked. And I'm here to tell you guys, that so-called banking reset is already underway. And we can follow the money and the adoption. And I'm here to tell you, there's a saying in the legacy banking ecosystem that says we have the technology and the resources to disrupt the disruptors. Because guys, the power players of the world, the banks like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the central banks of the world and the Fed, they are still going to control the flow of money. And they will not be disrupted. And not only that, guys, they are already immensely in the lead from the last 200 years. But people don't know this. But these private blockchains and these ledgers are being used for the legacy banks to actually take the lead and increase it. Their market share is not going away. It's getting increased every single day. So if you're like me and you had thought that some of these new technology corporations are going to overtake the banking system, I'm here to tell you they're not. And the money is going to run on the same rails that it does now, just using new technology. And guys, you don't have to take my word for it. I highly recommend watch some of my other videos that I just created about how the legacy banks are have a roadmap, and I'll leave a link down below. And I'm going to give you a few places to go. Just spend 10 minutes, guys, on some of this information. Hey, don't have to take it from me, but I know this from doing all this research. The majority of people that think they know banking, and they say things like, when the flip gets switched, we're going to be rich and all that, guys, they've done no homework on the competition or on the legacy banks. I know that for a fact, or they wouldn't say such misinformed statements. Because that's not what it's going to look like, guys. And if you don't have that understanding, you're probably going to stack the wrong bags. You're definitely going to buy and sell at the wrong time and get wrecked. I'm here to capitalize on the biggest opportunity in the world. I'm non-biased. Bias gets you wrecked, guys. Tribalism gets you wrecked. Get all the information you can together, good and bad. Do your own research and have your own thoughts. Think it through or you'll get wrecked. I'm here to help you with that, guys. Not financial advice, but I do want to give you good information just like in this video. And I'm here to tell you guys, watch this video. And I've got 4 projects that everyone should be taking a look at, in my opinion. Now, I own the banking tokens. Like I said, I'm extremely bullish in that sector. They're going to get their share, but they're not, and I repeat, not going to get the lion's share. And some of these projects I'm excited about. Anyway, let's get into it. Now, this is just an example on the screen of what I've been seeing every single day. I can't keep up with what the legacy banking system and Wall Street and the major corporations of the world is up to. It's just too much. But they're getting way down the road, so they can't hide their intent and what they've been up to. And guys, I'm telling you, they have been building massive rails for like cross-border payments. They're putting liquidity pools together. They're making it all happen. They're just going to extend what they're doing now, and they're partnering together like never before. And that's kind of weird to see. When you see a powerhouse like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs partner, guys, you know that is going to be a very massive project, no matter what it is, because they're 2 of the biggest power players on the planet, period. Now, it says corporate giants like Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, Deloitte, and others join massive institutional blockchain network. Well, guys, long story short, this is just another network that's not going to be using a token. Now, that's the trend. I do know this. The massive flow of money, the M1 money supply type money, the repo market money, the MoneyGram market, the SWIFT market, the big legacy banking system type money that flows in and out of the Fed, that is not going to run where it needs a token. It's going to be private. It's going to run on different rails, and it's going to use ledgers. Now, the good news is, once they go out of their ecosystem, they're going to have to run on somebody's rails. And that's where the banking tokens like HBAR, XRP, XLM, and all those are going to do really well. And in my opinion, extremely well will be like Link and Quant, because they got to have that interoperability. Now, I do have a little concern. For whatever this is worth, guys, I absolutely love everything about Quant. However, this is to the point that I also tell people I'm going to go bull run to bull run. A lot of people have this idea of holding these things 5-10 years. Well, guys, this blockchain right here is to add interoperability to Web3. So, for whatever that's worth, and I haven't dug into it enough to understand if it's a threat to Quant or Link, but whether it is or not, guys, those are the type projects, especially with AI, that can come out of nowhere, and no matter what project it is or no matter how dominant they are, this technology is going so fast, any project could disappear at any time, in my opinion. Keep that in mind. So when you got that 3x, 5x, 10x, 15x, you might want to take those profits. For whatever that's worth, not financial advice. But anyway, that is called the Canton Network. Go to Canton.network. Guys, surf around. Here's what it says. It says the first blockchain network designed with the control and interoperability needed to power synchronized financial markets. Guys, they are already controlling the flow of money, period. And I'm talking about the big flow of money. Look, here's the deal. There's certain rails, just like the dollar is the dominant money supply in the world, right? There's certain corridors, right? Like money, I'm guessing, going in and out of London to America, from Saudi to China, places like that, guys. Those are the rails that if you capture those, you will have the lion's share. So some of these small countries or some of these smaller corridors, they're great to have, and that's where everyone's going to get their share, but that's not Wall Street's focus. That's not the legacy banking system's focus. They want that flow of money coming out of the Fed into the legacy banking systems, coming out of Wall Street, going from Wall Street into, say, DeFi and into stable coins. That's the money they want. That M1 money, supply money, that unbanked money in the Bitcoin ecosystem, the FEDNOW money, the MoneyGram money, the SWIFT money. That's all they care about, guys. They want the lion's share, and they're going to get it. Now, just to give you an example of these corporations that are really dominating blockchain. I'm talking about the actual blockchain itself that don't have a token that people need to really study. Digital assets is a absolute power player, guys. I think of them more of a consultant, even though they do what they do, but they also share that knowledge, whether it's being on a board or being partners with like what we're talking about. Excuse me. But look at just digital assets use cases: clearing and settlement, tokenized assurance, payments, life cycle management, custody, and safekeeping. Guys, one other thing about this Canton Network, it talks about insured regulated money flow. For whatever that's worth, guys. Now, here's another project. Just go take a look at it. And once you do, guys, spend 10 minutes. Go down the rabbit hole on jpmorgan.com and find out Onyx, Consensus, Quora, and see what they are up to. Guys, Onyx has already done over $700 billion worth of transactions, and it does more in a month than the majority of all the projects out there have done since inception, and that includes almost all the so-called banking tokens. Don't take my word for it, guys. Compare. Now, this is another powerhouse corporation that is leading people into blockchain, onboarding them into private blockchains. Highly recommend going to, I don't even know how to say it. It's an Italian word. Capgemini, CAPGEMINI. Go look at what they do, guys. They do payments, but look at this. Together with rising demand for real-time accessible digital-first payment experiences, payment firms are subject to data privacy regulations, technical advances, and growing e-commerce. Guys, they help bring all that to people through banking, real-time payment implementation, open banking, card issuance, cash management, innovative merchant acquiring solutions. Guys, the money of the future is basically going to have unbelievable competition, except for that lion's share, for whatever that's worth. Now, here's one project that I personally am going to stack, and I'm going to stack it hard. It's the Onyx Liquidity Protocol. Now, it is an indirect play on the Onyx private blockchain of JP Morgan. Now, the reason I'm bullish on this, it's part of the Onyx ecosystem. And I watched a podcast, which I'll leave a link down below of that video as well, where the lead person over blockchain for Goldman Sachs talked about how they are partnering with legacy banks and corporations around the world to share their technology. And they understand that the more Web3 grows, it's better for everyone. And even though Goldman Sachs is a private blockchain and they want to capture that Wall Street money going in and out of, say, DeFi, they understand that the public blockchains are going to have a use case as well. Well, they want a piece of that pie. I don't know what all that is going to look like, but the lady literally mentioned how the reason they got involved with the Onyx protocol and kind of brought it under their indirect umbrella is they want to push their customers into blockchain, right, that is public when needed. And this is the one that they're going to be pushing them into. For whatever that's worth, I follow the money. Now, when you look at their chart, they're number 304 as far as market cap. But guys, this has a massive upside in my opinion. Not really going into the tokenomics, but that's 0.002, and it's been as much as 20 cents. That is going to be one of my very, very bullish plays. It's a little more risky, but I'm going to stack it. Guys, here's another thing that just shows you how that the flow of money, the lion's share of money, is not going to use a token. FEDNOW has no token. It doesn't run on the blockchain technology. I forget what they call it, but it is different. But the rails coming in and out, going from FEDNOW all over the world, that's where projects are going to have need a token. But it doesn't, when you go through the FEDNOW, like 200 plus companies or whatever that can onboard people, help onboard people in and out of the FEDNOW, guys, almost all of it are just corporations, right? It's that new payment type rails like Venmo or Cash App, and a lot of those projects are even have private token or don't have a token. They have private blockchains as well, for whatever that's worth. But here's something that made me extremely bullish. It's called Metal Blockchain. Now, I haven't got to do the real deep dive on it, but they made a big announcement. Look at some of these players: NASDAQ, JP Morgan, Forbes, and when you dive into their technology, it's pretty strong. It's extremely strong, and they had a big announcement that they're kind of one of the FEDNOW's preferred onboarders, for whatever that's worth. Now, I don't know exactly how special they are, but they talk about the ISO20022 compliance, which they are compliant, and they're going to basically be a bridge between FEDNOW and basically everywhere you want to go with Web 3. And it says here that it's designed for global finance, featuring a scalable, secure, and decentralized layer 0 infrastructure. Its cross-chain interoperability ensures seamless transaction across networks. Guys, Metal Blockchain, I think, has a future. Now look at this. Go look at anything across the board right now and see what's up. Look at that chart right there, guys. Straight up. And guys, that's just a number of days. Let's look at the 24 hours. Look at that. Nothing is pumping today. Nothing. Bitcoin's down. XRP's down. H-bar's down. Everything I've looked at this morning except meme coins are down. Not metal. Been pumping and pumping. Guys, I'm personally going to be stacking metal. Not financial advice. Now, guys, I want to make it very clear because there's so much misunderstanding when it comes to ISO 222 compliant tokens. I'm going to simplify it as easy as possible. Here's the deal. It has its own ecosystem. That's it. And it doesn't use XRP, doesn't use XLM. It has a gateway with Link. And from the last video I watched, there is internal mechanisms being ran with R3 Quarter, not with the token of XDC, and with Quora or Quorum, JP Morgan's private blockchain. That's some of the inner workings. But again, if all these tokens, whether they're ISO 222 compliant or not, they can easily become compliant. Think of it, guys, as just getting a permit like a contractor would to build a house. They give you the regulations. Either you meet those regulations and you can build that house, or you can't. If you want to onboard in and out of SWIFT, you need to have that certification or be compliant, and they'll just give you a number or a symbol or whatever it is, program you in, and they'll know who's coming in and out, and they know that you're compliant. It's that simple. Now, so therefore, when someone tells you, for instance, that like Ripple is going to overthrow SWIFT, guys, it's a massive ecosystem. All of these are. That's how I want you guys to think about it. I'm going to simplify it as easy as possible. Think about, say, Goldman Sachs being New York, the legacy banks being like New York City. Think about SWIFT being like Dubai. Think about MoneyGram being like Los Angeles. FEDNOW is, say, Miami, and Bitcoin is Atlanta. Those ecosystems, right? That's the powerful money flow of the world. It's not going anywhere. Now, where do the banking tokens come in? Well, it's that interoperability. Those are the roads and the bridges, primarily toll roads and bridges going in and out of New York City, Miami, Los Angeles. Now, here's the reason that Ripple, XRP, Stellar, I don't care which one, the reason they're not going to disrupt any of these systems like MoneyGram or SWIFT or the legacy banks is because imagine the toll road or the bridge going, say, from New York to Miami, and imagine the last 10 miles are always going to have to pay for that last 10 miles. So no matter where you came from, no matter what on-ramp you got on and off of, no matter where you've been, you're going to have to use their rails, right? Their token if they have it, or it's normally going to be a ledger. So I want you to think about it. No matter who uses SWIFT, they're going to have to onboard and be part of that ecosystem on the outskirts. Well, there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of entities onboarding in and out of SWIFT network. Well, guys, it's not a competition. You're talking two different things. And if you want to talk about some of the so-called disruptors, like, for instance, let's just say Ripple and XRP, well, when you compare them to like SWIFT or JP Morgan's private blockchain, and you compare those ecosystems, it would be like having a toll road and toll bridge with, say, a gas station on side with maybe food and beverage. Guys, they're two different entities. They cannot and will not compete with those rails, and they're not going to compete with the lion's share of the banks or with SWIFT or with FEDNOW. It just doesn't work that way. It's highly misinformed. Now, go look at ISO20022 and look at what Bank of Mellon has been doing with them. Guys, no one ever talks about this, but look at this. Bank of Mellon transforms cross-border payment transactions between Egypt and China. Well, guess what, guys? It used SWIFT. It didn't use any of our banking token rails, for whatever that's worth. And those are the power players of the world right there. Now, that gets back to the list of compliant tokens. Guys, it's a mile long. It's not that big a deal to be compliant. It doesn't give you favor. It just allows you to be part of the game. That's it. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, this is a sleeper, guys, in my opinion, but that ecosystem is explosive. And, you know, I hear people all the time want to talk about how, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum have bad tech. Well, you got to compare the ecosystems. And guys, I'm here to tell you, when it comes to cross-border payments, no one's dominating much more than Bitcoin and like the Lightning Network. This is a new application right here that everyone should go take a look at. It's called Light Spark, and I highly recommend everyone go take a look at it. And I haven't done a deep dive on it, but guys, the Bitcoin ecosystem is starting to grow, and you have the layer 2s coming into Bitcoin, just like there's a ZK rollup for Ethereum. It's coming to help scale Bitcoin as well. And guys, that is one of the ecosystems that is going to be a power player, and that's where the banking tokens can get their share with that interoperability. Now, check this out, guys, and I am going to do a deep dive on Vast Crypto Bank. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Go to vast.bank, check it out. Basically, guys, you can set up your bank account just like we have now, and you can buy and sell crypto in and out of it. And this may, I hope, solve the problem of how we are having trouble onboarding our own money from our banks into crypto. You got to go to like crypto.com, eat up all those fees, have them mess with your money, have them delay everything you do. Hopefully, this might have a play for the future. I like to see it. It's regulated. It's insured. I'm literally thinking about putting some of my money into it. I'm going to do a deep dive, and we'll get back to that. But this leads to another play, and guys, this might be definitely one of my new best plays. I just uncovered it. I'm going to have to do more of a deep dive, but here's the thing. I said, man, does Vast have a token? No, they don't. However, it said that they have a partnership with Monsoon Blockchain, which is basically a developer corporation for developing blockchain. Well, it doesn't have a token either, but guess what? It powers on the Bitcoin, what is that, LATINUM, and it does have a token, which we're about to get into. But before we do, I want to just look at this. Monsoon Blockchain partners with industry giants in the US and Asia to engineer the next generation of fintech. Guys, Monsoon is another powerhouse that no one knows anything about, and they have a blockchain, and they also are developers, but they don't have a token. And they, as according to their website, it's Monsoon Blockchain Corporation, digitizing modern business assets with blockchain technology. Now, what they've been working on is Bitcoin LATINUM, and it says Bitcoin LATINUM has announced a strategic partnership with Vast Bank that will enable collaboration and integration among Bitcoin LATINUM and Vast Bank. Vast Bank customers will be able to buy and sell cryptos anywhere in the US with Vast Bank crypto app. Can't wait to dive into it. But anyway, guys, go to their website. It's bitcoinlatinium.com. Check out what they do. But guys, I'm extremely bullish on it and the entire Bitcoin blockchain. Anyway, I haven't done a deep dive, but just the little bit of research that I've done, because I just uncovered it. Guys, I'm probably going to be stacking this project. It's young, it's early, it's risky, but guys, look at this upside. And they have those partnerships, and they have that big massive developer firm behind them, and right now that's at $3.44. They've already been almost $200. I'm going to be stacking it. Now, that being said, guys, my number one project, my number one token for all of us to stack, and this is not financial advice, but I truly believe that, is stablecoins. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one. I just use this as the concept. I personally use USDC. Believe me, I don't want to recommend anything to do with where you park your money. I use USDC. It's backed pretty much by Wall Street and the Bank of Mellon. You saw what happened when they came off their peg by what? 9 cents. JP Morgan wrote, what was that check? 365 billion or whatever. How much y'all need? Here you go, guys. That's about as secure as we can get at the time. But here's my point about that. Guys, we are in a recession. Don't let anyone kid you. They changed the way they measure it, but we are. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. The good news is, once this is all said and done, they are not going to be able to stop printing money. Unfortunately, we're all going to have to make a ton of money because everything is going to get out of hand. They've changed the way they measure inflation. They went from measuring it 2 years to only measuring it 1. So, you know, if you go back 2 years ago, you would see how high inflation's still up there, 7, 8, 9%. But when you measure it from a year ago, when it was like at 12%, the real number I think was in the 20s, it's showing that we have dropped every month. Well, guys, that's because they shortened the window. But for the last 2 years, it's just been going up, and there's no fixing that. So it leads me back to the best project, the best token out there is stack that cash, guys, because when things crash, and I think they will, just like Bitcoin is heading back down to 25,000 right now, HBAR, Quant, you name it, pretty much every token you look at right now is going back to the lows of last year, which I absolutely love. Now, I'm not going to dive into which ones you should start stacking, but guys, some of these, when they're back to the lows of last year, might be time to start dollar cost averaging in. Either way, having some cash, some dry powder on the side, I think is by far the best play, and be ready to act. Because if, for instance, we wake up and something breaks in the economy, in the global economy, something happens with China or whatever, or another war, another pandemic, whatever breaks out and everything crashes, it's not going to give you a lot of time to sit there and think if you want to say stack more Bitcoin or Ethereum at $300 if we're lucky. You need to be prepared, and cash is king when things are crashing, for whatever that's worth. Anyway, guys, I know that was quite a ramble. I don't even know how this video is going to come out. Hopefully, I got my point across. But, guys, I'm here to tell you that the main players of the world that have the flow of money are still going to dominate. So don't think that a banking token, for instance, is going to be that moon token that's going to get you a jet because you bought $100 worth of it. It's still going to do well. I'm not unstacking any of my banking tokens. I'm very optimistic about them. However, there's new projects coming down the pipe, and the more you can follow the big money, in my opinion, and try to front run that and get involved in what they are getting involved in, you're going to do better. Again, not financial advice. Anyway, guys, I know I rambled on. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I got a lot of good information coming. Guys, the projects are coming out so fast I can't keep up with them. But I really think that everyone should start looking at the new projects that are being built on, say, the banking token ecosystems, like Ethereum ecosystem, Cosmos ecosystem, HBARs, Algorand. There's some amazing projects coming out. I highly recommend taking a look at those. And guys, take a look at all these projects that I talked about today. I think it might be worth the time. And guys, if you disagree, by all means, please do your research. Google JP Morgan, legacy banking system, blockchain roadmap. Who's dominating? Ask the question, guys, who's dominating cross-border payments right now in crypto with blockchain? Ask that question. Don't ask a biased question, for instance, like, is Stellar going to lead the banking reset, right? Is Ripple, dominating banking? Or, you know, how many partners does Ripple have in banking? Guys, JP Morgan owns more banks than Ripple has as partners, for whatever that's worth. So you got to get it in context, guys. Do non-biased homework. I'm telling you, it won't let you down. And then we could have some really good conversations about what banking is going to look like. But don't kid yourself, guys. That banking reset is well underway. And the FEDNOW, SWIFT, the legacy banks, they got so much in place that they've already been doing that no one talks about. They don't have armies. And guys, you got to understand, Wall Street and the legacy banks, they do not want what they're up to out there. They know there's disruptive technology. They know that people are coming for them. Well, they're not going to really lay it out until it's ready to roll. And then you'll find out who exactly has been dominating. And I'm here to tell you, no matter what, I would say if I had to pick one corporation or bank that's leading, the most dominant player in crypto right now, by far, I would have to say is JP Morgan. So you can fight them, you can fight the Fed, you can fight BlackRock, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stack my pennies next to their dollars and hopefully front run everything they do. I don't have an opinion. I highly recommend that you use their opinion. It doesn't matter what we think, guys. We don't have the money to pick winners and losers. We are not going to move the markets. They are. So if they like a certain project, if they pick one to be the winner, I'm going to go with that for whatever that's worth. Anyway, guys, I know I'm rambling. That's all I got. Take care and come back and be part of this community.